Determined by the jury. If the racial factors were reversed, if a white man had killed an unarmed black man, everybody would be on the reverse side of this. We live in a society where everything is judged by race. You know, the Bible says to judges and prosecutors, don't recognize people, just do abstract justice. We're way, way, way beyond that. If the racial elements were reversed there, virtually all the people who are calling for him to be acquitted would be calling for him to be convicted, and vice versa. Let's not kid ourselves. We live in a race-conscious society.
The 17-year-old accused of fatally stabbing a Texas student athlete during a track meet allegedly admitted to the crime. Now, he also asked officers if his actions could be considered self-defense. That is according to a newly released arrest report. On Wednesday morning, 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, a junior at Memorial High School in Frisco, Texas, was killed at a track meet. Police said a student from Centennial High School in Frisco, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, stabbed Metcalf in the chest during a fight. Anthony was arrested, now charged with first-degree murder, and is being held in the Collin County Jail on a $1 million bond. Our Fox 4 Dallas team has been covering all of the information here. Alex Boyer has the latest.
In that 7-page arrest warrant affidavit, several witnesses, including Metcalf's twin brother, describe how that deadly encounter went down. It also revealed that the suspect reportedly admitted to a Frisco police officer that he stabbed Metcalf.
My son is gone, and I don't really have words. I've tried to figure out what I was going to say, but he's just going to be so missed.
The pain is still raw for the Metcalf family after 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was killed on Wednesday morning at a UIL District 11-5A track meet in Frisco.
That dude was extremely smart, always in the box. He just came to him real easy, and just him playing football as well just made him just a great person overall.
Here's what happened according to witnesses and the police report. Metcalf got into an argument with the suspect, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, over a seating dispute in the bleachers. Metcalf told Anthony he needed to move from under the team's tent.
He always was one to step up and be the person that would do the right thing. And he was doing the right thing by saying to this gentleman that you're not supposed to be in this tent. This is because they have personal items there.
Anthony opened his bag and reached inside and said to Metcalf, "Touch me and see what happens." Metcalf reportedly grabbed Anthony and told him to move.
He knew he wasn't supposed to be there. It's just a tragedy what happened.
That's when Anthony pulled out a black knife and stabbed Metcalf in the chest once before running away. When Anthony was taken into custody by a Frisco police officer, Anthony reportedly confessed to the crime, saying, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to," adding that, "I was protecting myself," and then asked the police officer, "Is he going to be okay?"
See, this statement right here, is he going to be okay? So he didn't mean to kill him. I don't think he had intentions on killing him. And this is a tragedy, man. And you ever think about your own life, man, how you just feel like, man, something horrible could have happened to me. My life was spared. It's just those decisions that we make, right? And I know these two young men wish that different decisions were made. I know the families wish different decisions were made, because I would like to see Austin Metcalf alive again with his family, and I would love to see Karmelo Anthony with his family, and none of this tragedy has happened, man. This is just unfortunate. Like I said, I'm a father of some young men, and they're athletes too. They both ran track, wrestling, football. We're athletic family. And I never seen anything like this happen at a track meet, man. It does raise some questions on why have a knife at a track meet. I don't know. I don't know what this young man has went through, but I just wish that this didn't happen. I wish that for both of the families. Unfortunately, it did, and both families are changed. Their lives are changed forever, man. I would imagine the Metcalf family. You'll never get over this. This is something you'll never get over. And later on, they had the interview with the father. So
Metcalf died in his brother's arms.
I'm not at that point to forgive and forget, but eventually I will. But I pray for his family. I pray that they understand what we're going through as well.
This whole community has really wrapped their arms around us, and if I could say anything to the nation, I would say to make sure that you just hug your babies tight, because you don't know when the last time you get to do it.
In a statement released by the Metcalf family this afternoon, they say their focus is now on laying Austin to rest. Meanwhile, I can tell you that Anthony remains in the Collin County Jail on a $1 million bond. Alex Boyer, Fox 4 News.
All right, so Anthony was being held on $1 million bond, which was crazy. Today, they reduced it to 250 grand, which is, still sizable, but he wound up getting out. All right, so Mark, first of all, the idea of race, I mean, you lived it with Zimmerman in a big way. There's so many people who believe that that's why Zimmerman wound up beating that case. But what do you see here? What are your questions? What will matter?
Oh, no, it's definitely a consideration. It always is, whether it's a sort of obvious what we're doing or the implicit one, because we all carry these implicit biases with us that perceive or impact how we perceive an event. Now, what's really it's going to come down to, and I disagree with the guy who said this is not a self-defense case yesterday, I think he said it. This is definitely a self-defense case, because it always is one until you look at the facts of the case and compare the two. You have to compare who was the initial aggressor. Was it an aggressive act for him to go up and say, get away from the tent? Did he do more than that? My understanding was maybe he touched him and put hands on him. Granted, that makes the decedent in this case maybe the initial aggressor. But you really still then have to look at whether or not Karmelo Anthony responded with appropriate force, he used a deadly weapon, and whether or not he was in imminent fear of great bodily injury. That's the standard in Texas and most every state, to determine whether or not his actions, the way he perceived him, the way Karmelo Anthony perceived him when he took out that knife and stabbed him. The good part is if the decedent was the aggressor initially. The bad part for Karmelo, if in fact it's true that he sort of said, touch me and you'll see, because that's that aggression, that's that predisposition towards violence that doesn't have a place in a true self-defense case.
What's the most important question for you in this, Mark? And then I want the same from you, Professor, if you have one. Go ahead, Mark.
Sure. Who truly was the initial aggressor? How did this unfold such that if in fact he had a reason to believe great bodily injury was imminent, was it reasonable? Was he pushed? Was he shoved? Was he hit? Because don't forget, it's of the moment, but you are allowed to respond to great deadly force with your own great deadly force, or at least your perception of great deadly force. So it's really going to be fact-based. I do think that race, it's going to be played out on social media. It also is going to be played out in a courtroom if you ever get there, because in today's day and age, I would argue that someone like Karmelo Anthony now has a heightened concern over the past few years and the way we've sort of degraded some of the progress we may have thought we made over the past decade, as far as how we're treating young black males in the system, such that maybe he would have felt more preyed upon than he otherwise would. Interesting. You're right. We're going to be talking about this for a long time.
Professor, what do you got?
Oh, I'm
Professor?
sorry.
Yeah, Professor.
This is all about who the jury is. This will all be determined by the jury. If the racial factors were reversed, if a white man had killed an unarmed black man, everybody would be on the reverse side of this. We live in a society where everything is judged by race. The Bible says to judges and prosecutors, don't recognize people, just do abstract justice. We're way, way, way beyond that. If the racial elements were reversed there, virtually all the people who are calling for him to be acquitted would be calling for him to be convicted, and vice versa. Let's not kid ourselves. We live in a race-conscious society, and jury selection, which, of course, your other guest is so brilliant at and did so well in the Zimmerman case, is determine the outcome of this case, without a doubt.
For me, it's as simple as, how do they feel about this proposition? Bringing a knife to a fist fight. Right. Mark O'Mara, we'll see what happens. Alan Dershowitz, thank you very much.
I think he makes a great point, man. How do they feel about someone bringing a knife to a fist fight? Yeah. And the one gentleman was saying that if the roles were reversed, the people that are on Carmelo Anthony's side, they would flip. They would be upset that he got killed. And your argument would be, hey, you know what? He was an innocent young man. What happened to him was not justified. He should have never been stabbed in his heart. Da, da, da. Keep that in mind. If it was Carmelo Anthony who was killed, this is how you would feel. But I know in this country, people feel is justified because of the history of this country. They think that anything that happens to someone that is white by the hands of someone who's black or a minority is justified because of things that happen in our history. And for me, that's a flawed way of thinking. This right here is a tragedy, man. 2 young men, 2 families have been affected, and they have been changed forever. You know, the Metcalf family initially, they had interviewed the father, and you know, he has a strong faith. You know, his religious belief is he feels his religious belief is going to get him through this. And you know, the wife, she was different in her interview. She was very upset. I don't blame her. The brother, the twin brother, his brother died in his arms. I don't blame him. I know everyone's not going to forgive. Something tragic happens to your family. I get it. This whole situation is man, it's really bad, and I just think that people can be very insensitive, man. I think they could be very insensitive. It's tragedy. I wish that it never happened.